What's up, guys? Welcome to Poor Man Mods. Today we're gonna take this. Oh my goodness! A useless blown up FA20 DIT engine block or short block, and we're gonna turn it into this. This is a stool that I made out of the FA20 DIT crankshaft, and today I'm gonna show you how we did it. Good Lord, that one was tight. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Whoa! Did you hear that? There was like a rush of air. Whoa! That's cool. I've never split a Subaru block before. Huh. Lets out a little puff of air. That is super weird. Look at that cute little crank. Oh my god. It's adorable. It's okay, little guy. Come here. Daddy won't hurt you. Daddy's gonna make you useful. It is a little short, but thus is life. All right, got this thing all welded up, but because I'm a dummy, it doesn't matter that I welded it because this is all cast and it's cracking. I'm definitely not a pro, so I guess I don't know how to properly weld cast. So this thing is just self-destructing, and I'm not gonna give up on it. If you don't have one of these, I highly, highly recommend it. This tool is fantastic. I'll link it in the description for you, but it's a really good way of making your center mark, and you don't need a hammer. It makes a really good indent. And I only need 5, so just marking 5. Got the holes drilled in this piece. Now I'm gonna cut them out with this little Vevor plasma cutter. A grind off wheel, cut off wheel, whatever would work for this, but it's gonna take a lot of time and probably eat up an entire disc, maybe 2. That's a fair amount of steel to cut through. I'm gonna be using this plasma cutter that I just got. I've wanted one of these for so long, and I just picked this thing up. Right now, this thing's on Amazon for like $167. There's almost no reason nowadays to not have a plasma cutter. With how affordable they are now, like, it's a no-brainer to have one of these around. I'm pretty sure there's some angle grinders that cost more than this. The only complaint I really have about it is the length of the power cord. It's not a deal breaker for how low the price is on this thing, but I feel like it could just be a little bit longer. It's a bit of a stretch getting it to my 240 volt outlet over there. And this does come with an adapter, so if you don't have 240, it can work on 120 as well. It has a little adjustment knob for the power, and there is a air regulator on the back, and there's a little gauge right here to tell you how much PSI to run for thickness of steel. I just have it cranked all the way up to the highest setting, and it should be more than enough to cut that little plate of steel. So I'm not an expert at this. I've only done a few cuts, but this should make cutting that out a lot quicker and a lot easier. And using a plasma cutter is just freaking fun. I love fire and sparks, and it's way more enjoyable than using an angle grinder. So let's get to it. Of course, I will have a link to this in the description down below if you're interested. Seriously, for $167, you can't go wrong. Yeah, cut it out with relative ease. Might take these to the belt sander just to make them slightly less jagged, but I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it. But I freaking love that thing. I would now find any reason to use that. All right, got these little guys touched up with the belt sander. I did not remove like the slag or whatever you want to call this, where it's obviously was cut. I kind of like that look, but I basically just took the sharpness off with the belt sander. So they're it's a pretty nitty gritty look, but I'm actually digging it. So they're gonna stay like this, but they aren't sharp enough to cut you. I took care of that. So, and you can see here, I did weld this all the way around. Might not be able to see it on camera, but it did crack, which it's interesting. I've never tried welding cast before. It's welded all the way around, but it's cracked all the way around, but it's still secured. So that is just interesting. But we're gonna secure it with these 5 M12 bolts with these washers, and that should hold it down pretty good and give it a unique look. And for extra uniqueness, or for extra attitude, I'm actually using castle nuts. So here is the bearing that's going to attach to the crank and to the stool. We need a way of attaching this to the crank, and what I want to do is make a piece of steel and attach that to the crank, and then this will be able to bolt to that, and then the seat can screw onto here. So I'm going to use my plasma cutter, cut along this line, and then drill 4 holes in it so it can mate up with the bearing. Got the plate cut out and cleaned up. Now we can mark the holes for drilling. All right, got all the holes drilled in this plate. Now, the way I'm going to affix this is the incorrect way. The threads on this snout, I believe, are like an M13 by 1.5. The factory crank bolt, it's not an M12, not an M14, so I guess it's an M13. But like the area kind of going into those threads kind of catches this M12 by 1.5. So I am going to send it in with this M12. I've got some washers on here because it doesn't bottom out all the way. Like it kind of stops there and feels unhappy, and there's a little bit of room, so using these washers, and I'm hoping I'll be able to sandwich this plate like so. Let's see what happens here. Oh, yes. Perfect. So obviously this is sticking up a bit. The bearing is kind of sitting above these bolt holes, so we probably just need a nut or two to space this bearing up. Heck yeah. Yeah. One more piece to the puzzle. Last part, just gotta attach some screws to this thing. The backing is wood, so these screws should just go right in. Heck yeah, an FA20 DIT stool. Freaking love it. It's perfect. I freaking love it. Finally, I think this is the most useful a Subaru crankshaft has ever been. It can finally do something, and it's probably not going to blow up. I'm probably going to keep this in my shop, but honestly, I think I'm going to post it on Facebook Marketplace for probably a ridiculous amount of money. And if it sells, it sells. And if it doesn't, I'll have a cool piece of garage art here. But this really wasn't too expensive to make. If you want to do a project like this for yourself, I will post a link in the description to the seat cushion and also that bearing that I'm sitting on. Those are the two vital components to this, and you could turn pretty much anything into a stool if you can make the stuff work together. And I'll also post a link to that plasma cutter, that thing for $167. Pretty much no excuse to not have a plasma cutter nowadays with how affordable they are. So super happy with that plasma cutter. Made cutting this stuff up so much easier. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope maybe you learned something, and I'll see you next time.